Managing users with the field level and data security is quite simple. You can assign defaults for all users, so you don't have to add everybody. You can assign specific for a single user, or you can make a user member of a group, so you don't have to specify everybody. All this one is actually done by table, so it's very simple to give that one depending on the individual user. There is a page that gives a very simple overview, and I'll be showing all that one, how that actually works in here. I have a setup here of NavEasy Security. I have installed the whole thing, and I will go ahead and switch to a company where I will actually be doing some of the user assignment in here. As normal, when you install this in a new company, you have to do a few things to copy over initial data. As you copy this one, you actually also be able to copy user security setup and group members, and I'll get back to that one a little later, how that actually will affect this one in here. But I did the setup, and I'll go ahead and run this copy data, and it will pull over the information in here. As you assign user security for field level and data security, it's a very different process than normal. First of all, we allow the blank user ID, and that really allows you to reduce the amount of records very highly in here. By leaving the user ID blank, it will be the default for everybody in here. And you can assign a field level security code, and you'll also be able to assign a data security code in here. So basically in here, I have now for every user, I will be having a read-only pages, and I will have a data security of domestic in here. I can go add for myself in here and saying I'm really needing to have full access in here to everything related to my customer, and in that way I will leave both my data security and my field level security blank in here. So everything will now look completely normal for me in here. You can also add specific for other users in here. So I can go in and say David, for example, in 18. He will still have the full access to all the pages, but I still want to limit his access to data for only the domestic one in here. So in that way, you now have all the other users using the default up here, but for my users, David and myself, I will have a different assignment in here. There's a way of here actually showing all statistics, and as I do that one, I can go up and see for David. I will see that he has the blank and domestic in here. Everybody else, based on the default, the blank user, will actually have the other setup, and myself, of course, also have a direct assignment in here. You can make other people be like another person in here. So I have set up David in here, and we have something we call it group members in here. So I can actually go in and create a record in here and say I've set up David, and I really want Lisa to be using the same setup. And I can also do the same for Susan, for example. So as I now have added these group members, as I now go back, I'll be able to, in my user security setup, first of all, when I click on David, I can see out here who is actually a member of that group in here. It gives me some visibility, but a good place to see what is the final assignment for the user. I can go in here, and David, of course, have no change in here. Lisa down here, I will see, because of being member of a group, she get the domestic and blank, same as David, of course, in here. And myself, I don't have any change for that one. I still have the blank one in here. But creating a user and assigning it to other one can again reduce the amount of records in here. One thing, of course, is you using real users, and let's say David stops and you really want to take his permissions away in here. Another option you can do in here is you will actually create a totally different user in here. So You don't have to have a user necessary that can log into NAV, and you don't have to assign them any permission. Let's say that we actually just want a user in here called sales, and I'm not going to assign any security down here to that user. I would just leave all that blank in here, so the user won't be able to log in. And I now have a user sales in here. I want to go ahead and do the same as I actually did for David in here. And in that case, I will leave this blank and I'll put in domestic in here. So I'll add my new group sales in here, and I will go ahead and make David member of that group in here. This complains that you can't be member of a group and a group at the same time in here. So I will go and correct this one in a second. The same thing if I select Lisa and try to make Lisa a member of that group. It will also complain that you can't be member of two groups in here. So in that way, I will not be able to add Lisa in here also at that point. So I'll just try, and I'll see that I can't make Lisa member of the group also in here. So we go and clean this up, and so I want to delete David in here as a group, but then of course I can make the group sales in here, and now can I make David Lisa and Susan be member of that one in here. So at this point, if I go back to my user security setup, if I now look at sales, I see there's 3 members of it, and I will go look at all user statistics, and even you being member of a group for David in here, for example, I will see I still override it with his own setting. Lisa is member of the group, and that's her active way of getting this one. And myself, of course, down here, I will be having a direct assignment, and I can also see sales in here being a direct assignment. So user management is quite simple. There's 3 levels. Either you have a direct assignment, like I have for myself and David, else you will be member of a group, and if you don't have any group either, it will go and fall back to the blank user ID. Using the blank user ID, you can really reduce the amount of data a lot. If you have 100 users in the system, maybe you only need 10 people that are different. You only need the blank record and list the 10 people that are different in here. So creating a blank user is a very good idea, because also if you add a new user in the future, you would actually automatically get the blank user up here. So you don't have to remember to do something to limit people's access. You have to remember to open up for people to do more than the normal in here. So that's a reason for the blank user ID. These records can actually come from multiple companies also. So as I originally went and did the setup, I could actually copy my user security setups from my Easy Security company. So even if you had multiple companies, you could have the same default for everybody, and you wouldn't be able to actually remove the default because it comes from that company, and then you would only have to do exceptions for the other one. A similar feature don't exist for groups. If you select to copy groups, you basically do that all the time in here. The other thing about users is, one thing is I have assigned a data security code, and for the user filter, where I can apply a lot of filters based on these dimensions in NAV in here. Again, I can go and add my blank number in here and say that should be from 10 to 20,000, for example, in here for my default user, and I can go in and add myself in here. Grouping does not apply to the user filter. You always want to have 1 record per user in here, but again, giving the blank user ID allow to get a default, and you only have to remember to open up for the people that need additional ones or different filters in here. So that's the other part of user management. You're assigning permissions and you're assigning what filters are being used for data security in here. So it's quite easy. There is these 3 levels in here, and using the statistic gives quite a good overview of this one in here.